Good night, everyone. Good night. My name is Nancy Pierre, and I am the CEO of We Care Home Care and Training Services located in Paterson, New Jersey. We're at 714 Broadway, Suite number 3. Our number is 973-988-4417. See us online at www.ouicarellc.com. Visit us on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube for We Care LLC, at We Care LLC. And I think I wanted to talk a little bit about our podcast, We Care Home Care 101, that we launched last year, 2024. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we are planning to do this year, 2025. 2025, home care, I believe, is becoming the choice for many families. And one of the things that we are going to want to do is, I'm going to say, further educate people about home care and how to make that choice, how to go about selecting the proper arrangement for you and your family. And there's a lot of different factors that go into it. Some people are going to be seeking services for themselves, depending upon, their mental capacity, their emotional capacity to do it, and what family members that they have, available or accessible to advocate and coordinate for them. One of the things that, as we discuss the process of implementing and structuring home care services, is to really look at all the different dynamics, or I'm going to say, like, people live differently. People have different living arrangements. People live with family members. Sometimes maybe it's a single daughter, maybe it's a single son, or sometimes it's a whole family. So, it's a elder parent who's living with her son's family, or an aunt or uncle living with his niece or nephew's family. There's so many different arrangements, but one of the things that becomes like really important is to have that champion, that key person who's going to do a lot of the coordination. And a lot of it can be overwhelming. And I think this is an opportunity for me to share a little bit about my story. Again, my name is Nancy Pierre, and I'm the CEO of We Care. And like many other adults in America, I am part of the sandwich generation. My mother is 86 years old. She became paralyzed from the waist down due to COVID. And it's, I'm going to say, 3.5 years ago. And that has been a big change for her. I mean, personally, but then for our family, because my mom was an awesome cook, and it's hard for me to say was, because my mom's still here. But why am I saying was? Because she no longer can, stand or walk or make it into the kitchen. And I don't want to say nor does she want to. I think sometimes people, though they love doing something and it's been such a big part of their family, it comes a time that you give it up, and maybe you take on a different role. And in my mother's case, this was something that was somewhat forced upon her. And so now part of my life is to make sure that she consistently has services. And they see now that I just said that, I remembered that her regular aide called out for the morning. So when I get off with you guys, I'm gonna be texting. It's what? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. My daughter's sleeping, and she has to get ready for school in the morning, but and I for work. But I said, you know what? Let me take this time, let me take this time to have this conversation, while, it's very present in my mind. I'm going to be spending a lot of time talking to different people and bringing different experts to the table. But I think throughout the time, I will be bringing my own personal experience to the table, right? And my personal experience, which is something I've been dealing with, like I said, for the last, it's going on 4 years now. Um, I believe can be a resource for many people who may be starting along this journey. So with that, my mother, there's a role reversal, I think, that has taken place, and sometimes I feel she's happy about it, and sometimes not, because yeah, it's nice to have someone else to take care of all the details that you used to take care of, and when it's done, nice and respectfully. But then I think other times, she goes through the loss of autonomy, the loss of, being able to decide when and where things happen or take place. So again, my name is Nancy Pierre. I am the CEO of We Care, Home Care and Training Services, located in Paterson, New Jersey. We're at 714 Broadway, suite number 3. Our phone number is 973-988-4417. And our website is www.ouicarellc.com. You can visit us online at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube, where we have our podcast, We Care Home Care 101. So I'm just, elaborating a little bit about, my mother's situation. And like I said, I think this is something that I'm going to do over time, just share a little bit more about it. And hopefully I can help someone. Hopefully, someone can hear, some of the decisions that I needed to make, so that she could live a healthy, happy life, even though now she's been bedbound, like I said, is going on 4 years, and she's doing extremely well. So I think I'm gonna start at, when this all happened. This was I'm gonna say like October, November 2021. And we were still like in the throes of COVID, and she was not feeling well, and we really didn't know what was going on. And so I went to the house, fully geared up with my scrubs and my what do you call it? My PPE, my personal protective equipment, gloves, gown, mask, head coverings, shoe coverings, um, goggles. And I didn't know what was going on. We didn't think she had COVID like that. We didn't think she had COVID. We actually thought that she had had a stroke. And so, I went there, and I stayed over, and I slept in the room with her even. Not in the same bed, but I slept in the room with her just to watch and observe her overnight. And I saw that she had difficulty breathing. I could tell she had some type of cold, but again, still not thinking that it was COVID because of her diminished ability to or strength, I should say, to stand on her own. Like I had to assist her and hold her up to use the commode or to try to get her out the bed to the recliner that she had in the room. And I had to put the recliner like really close up to the chair, I mean, the recliner close to the bed so that I could transfer her into the chair. And I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, I had just seen her probably like a couple of months, I mean, couple of weeks before, and she was in the bed, I think, when I came over, but she was well. So I couldn't fathom why she was this weak. And so I stayed with her for about, I'd say, a few days, and my brother had set up a virtual visit with her doctor. And it was over the phone. It wasn't like, it wasn't via video. And the minute the doctor spoke to her, she said, "Oh my God, no, go straight to the emergency room." So, we took her to the emergency room, ambulance, via ambulance, because they had to carry her down, in a wheelchair. There was no way that she was going to, or we were going to be able to walk her down. So they took her down, and we got in the ambulance, rode myself, and my sister rode in the ambulance with her. And I believe, as soon as we got there, because this was protocol at that time, the moment we got there, they tested her and they said, "Oh, positive COVID, everybody, you have to leave." We had to leave. And she was now, in quarantine and inside the hospital. And so with that, I don't think I didn't see my mother probably for a whole month after that. And of course, all the fear of of those things that occurred and how families were separated during COVID, a positive COVID test. Yeah, that and what was it, 4 years ago? My mother was like 82, so that was somewhat fearful. It, I was somewhat fearful, I should say. And she was discharged from the hospital, like I said, probably almost a month later, to a nursing home, a skilled nursing facility that, we had to choose. We had to figure out where she's going to be discharged. Was this going to be her new life? Was she going to live in a nursing facility? I made sure I went every week. I washed her hair, I clipped her nails, I gave her a manicure, gave her a pedicure, and massage, and making sure her skin was intact. Um, and gave her personalized care, because in a facility, um, like the one she was in, which and it was a facility I worked at like years ago, decent facility, and that's why I chose it. And it was accessible to, most everyone. It was not too far from her home. So I made sure, like I said, that I was there once a week to care for her. Um, but eventually, due to lack of movement, she never was taken out of the bed, and she developed a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot, and to her lung, that pretty much almost killed her. So she ended up in the hospital again. This was probably like 30 months later. And at this time, I made the decision, like I took it, I'm going to say the decision into my own hands, that my mother would not, go back to the facility. So she was in the hospital probably for 3 weeks at this day. And during that time, I let everybody know, family members, her sisters, her brothers, that we were going to renovate her home so that she could live out the rest of her days there. And you know, when I say that, like my mother could not make it back up the stairs to her bedroom. So we were going to have to figure out something on the first floor. And so, you know, there's a half bath in the kitchen. And so now we converted the dining room into her bedroom. So there's a hospital bed there. You know, I created various storage space for, you know, all of the supplies necessary to care for her. You know, some of those items are, you know, diapers and gloves and A&D ointment and what's that, Bomex or something like that. And I'm saying this sounds all boring, but like these are the items that we need to, you know, keep her skin well lubricated, and so that we prevent skin breakdown and make sure that, you know, she stays clean and free of infection. But being close to the kitchen, the aide, then the caregiver is able to, you know, have access to water, have access to cooking for her, and making sure that she eats properly. And, you know, having proper nutrition is key, definitely, to maintain, you know, her health and her skin integrity. So, this setup it's been working, I'm going to say, for the last three and a half years. And yeah, that, I think that's about, you know, just the beginning, you know, because it's been a journey. And there's some other things that I would definitely like to share, but just, you know, sharing this preliminary of how we got here. How did I get here? How did my family get here? And getting my siblings on board. Like, I feel like that those will be other conversations or opportunities that I'd like to share with you guys, about this story, about my story in being a caregiver, um, being a care coordinator, being an advocate, being someone called it a CFO, you know, chief financial officer, because there's a lot of financial management that goes into this. I have Miss Tanya, I forget her last name right now, who visited me over the summer for the podcast, and I plan to refer to her guide, the resource guide she created for caregivers, so that, you know, to really point out different things that will be helpful, and maybe talk about how I did it, and how I maybe made mistakes, and how Miss Tanya talks about it, so that we can do it better, and create balance in this world of caregiving, because it can be very consuming. And in order for us to continue to provide good care, there has to be some balance, and there has to be some self-care. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this conversation with you. I'd like to continue to share my story. Like I said, this is one segment, and there's many more to follow. And again, my name is Nancy Pierre from We Care, Home Care and Training Services. We are located in Paterson, New Jersey at 714 Broadway, Suite number 3. You can reach us over the phone at 973-988-4417. And you can visit us online at www.ouicarellc.com. See us on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, and YouTube. Visit our podcast, We Care Home Care 101. Thank you again for listening. Bye.